Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to SestraNow Consulting's free webinar, online webinar on the subject Marketing 101. We have an exciting power hour, I like to call it, scheduled for you. We have our marketing expert, Maribel Sanabria, reporting to us tonight on this very important topic. And she is the expert on marketing. So she's going to share with you the basics. So just listen up. Maribel, without further ado, I'm just going to let you go for it.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie, for that great
Welcome.
introduction. All right, guys. So tonight's not going to be like an expert level masterclass or anything like that. I want to really make sure you guys understand the basics of marketing so that you can not just market yourself, but your business as you're building it. And just start with like some of the foundational things that most people just forget about, right? Without a good solid foundation in marketing, you really cannot help your business grow to the level that it should, right? You can't jump over, a foundation and think, okay, yes, day one, I'm going to be making $1 million. That's not how it works, right? You've got to build those bricks and then they become stepping stones and then they take you where you need to go. All right. So what exactly is marketing, right? That's a question. That's the first question we're going to talk about. We've all heard this term, but it's very misunderstood, right? Some think it's advertising or selling, but it's a lot broader than that. And so I'm going to break it down for you guys in a really simple and clear way so that you can confidently understand what marketing really and actually means. Okay. So a working definition of marketing is the process of understanding what people need or want and then creating, communicating, and delivering value to meet those needs. So, at the heart of it, marketing is about building relationships. And whether it's through a product, a service, an idea, marketing connects what you can offer to the people that actually need it the most or your target audience. Okay. Come on. All right. So when we decide how we're going to market, because that's also like a very broad thing, depending on quite a few items like budget, your industry, what resources you have in terms of employees, if you have any of them, if you're a solopreneur, or like a simple startup, right? All of those things play a factor in terms of how you're going to market, but it's essential for any business. Okay. It connects your audience. And that's how they discover you. Without marketing, without proper marketing, no one knows you exist. And if nobody knows you exist, then how can they buy from you? How can you make those sales, right? So that's really the recipe for growth in a sense, right? Find your target audience, figure out how to connect with them, right? And then leverage that connection, those relationships, and convert them into sales. Okay. So I want you to think about your favorite company. Chances are it's their marketing that made you loyal to them, right? So I don't know, your favorite brand, your favorite perfume, your favorite clothing, item, kitchen favorites, whatever it is, right? Car even. Their brand is what resonated and what they had to offer you hit something. And it was like, yeah, I gotta have that. I gotta have that. So as a company, as a small business, you've got to create that I gotta have it kind of sense, right? You want people to look at what you have to offer and go, I cannot live another day without that. Okay. That's how you remain relevant in your industry. That's how you remain relevant with your audience. It is how you provide value to them, right? Now, when you're talking about advertising, right? We have paid advertising, we have, unpaid or organic reach, that kind of thing. That's just a tool, right? It's not advertising as a whole. It's not marketing as a whole, excuse me. Advertising is a small component, okay? So and people often get them really confused, right? They think to market my business, I need to pump a whole bunch of dollars into advertising, and that's the way that it's going to work. And that's not the case, to be honest. Marketing is creating this message, right, that resonates with everybody, and then advertising is how you deliver it. So it's, for example, placing an ad on social media, right, or a billboard. That's an example of advertising. But you can also advertise yourself for free. Okay, you can put things out in like Facebook groups. You can put things out on LinkedIn. You can host free webinars, things like that. Those are all great ways to advertise your business and the services that it does provide. Okay, but again, basic, you've got to communicate the value. If you cannot communicate the value of your service or your product, no one is going to care what you have to say. Okay. So if you want to start with marketing in any capacity, figure out what that is. And then once you know what that is and you know exactly who to target, then we can start leveling up and we can start building on that. But you need to spend a good amount of time right there, right? Hone in on the target audience, hone in on your messaging, hone in on your value. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to market to everybody and not understanding who they should focus on, and that can be a detriment, right? You don't want to niche down too tightly to where you have very few customers, but you also don't want to market to everybody because then, to be honest with you, people look, well, if that person can sell to anybody, then why are they special? What makes them unique, right? Why should I choose them if they're just going after the whole pool? So you have to be very careful, right? It's a balance there. And there are some things that you can do to figure out what your target audience is and, what your actual value is, what you bring to the table. There's some equations that you can fill in. And I'd be more than happy to share them with you at some point. So you can always message any of us and let us know, hey, I listened in and I thought this was really cool. Can you help me out? So I have no problem sharing that. All right. So there are four key parts of marketing. I call it the four P's, right? You have product, price, place, and promotion. To make marketing actionable, okay, you have to rely on this. And I want you to think about it like this. Your product is what you offer. Okay, it could be a service, physical item, even an idea. Okay. Price is how much someone's willing to pay for it. Okay. You could sell water for $1 million if someone is willing to pay for it. Okay. You could sell air for that much money if someone is willing to pay for it. It sounds silly, but if you have somebody that's willing to pay a certain price because you have put enough value behind it, then what you are asking is worth it. Okay. The place is where they find it. So where can they get a hold of this product or service? Is it online? Is it in a store? Is it at an event? It could be a combination of these. Because if you're a product-based business, you can sell at events like pop-ups, right? Not carnivals, but what are those things called? Um, like fairs. Yes, so like craft fairs or things like that, right? In stores, obviously. So if you have like a partnership with the store, a local, neighborhood store, or if you're going big time and your products end up in chains. Amen. I'm praying for all of you that happens because that would be amazing. But yeah, so where can people find your stuff? You want to make sure that that is very clear because if people do not know where to get a hold of you or the thing that you are producing, then you're not going to get any sales, right? So that has to be crystal clear. So something you have to do when you have a website, you need to make sure that that is communicated very clearly on it. And any sort of social media post that you put out, you want to make sure to know exactly where they can tell them where they need to go to get a hold of what you are offering. So if you are offering, say, a consultation, a free 30-minute consultation, they need to know where to go to sign up for that. So you have to have some sort of sign up link. Okay. if you are offering, say, a free webinar, okay, and that's part of your lead magnet, then you need to make sure that there is a way for them to sign up, and then that there are email sequences that follow that provide them with the information to access said webinar, and then what steps after that, right? Because we never want to offer our clients one-offs. Okay, you want to make sure to build consistent clientele, people that are going to come back to you over and over and over again because you have provided such immense value to them. Okay. So you want to think about, like, how can I take this one sale or this one product or this one offer and extend it past that, right? Because that's how you build lifelong relationships. And that's how you build people who end up referring you to their friends. And that's what we want. We want referrals, right? Whether we're a service-based business or we're a product-based business, those referrals are what keeps us going, right? Word of mouth is the best promotion out there. Okay. And it's free, right? So who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? All right. You need to go for that. So that's part of promoting, right? That's the last P here. Um, why are you valuable? I'm going to keep saying that because it's so critical. You need to figure out the why. Okay. A lot of people, when they first start the business, they're like, it's to make more money. But no, what is the why, right? Like my why, for example, is I want to be able to show my children that anything is possible. As a single mom, who pretty much raised them since they were little by themselves, by myself, right? Went to school, got 3 degrees, work full time, and I run my business, and I have time for everything because I'm really good at time management. And I want to show them that it can happen, right? That no matter what you put your mind to, you can make it happen. That there are no excuses. So if you really want this, um, define that why. Okay, if this is your thing and you are like 10 toes down on getting your business done, making it happen, helping it grow, become, sustainable, determine that why, that speaks to your mission, and it speaks to your vision, and make sure that your customers know this as you are promoting, as you are building your website, as you are putting out your story, right? People buy from people. So when they build those relationships, you're going to start making sales left and right because they understand you, they understand where you're coming from, they understand where you started, right? And they want to be a part of that journey. Okay. So if you can figure out these 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion, you got a good solid marketing plan on your hands. Okay. So there are 3 building blocks when it comes to foundational marketing. Okay. We've got branding, competitive analysis, and your target audience. Okay. These elements work together to help you clarify your business message and connect with your ideal customer to make sure you stand out amongst anybody else. So we're going to break this down. All right. Branding. It's more than just your logo or color scheme. Most people, when they think of branding, it's like, oh yeah, it's what everybody can see, right? True, but it's not just the logo and it's not just the colors. Okay. It's this overall identity of your business. So it's how your business feels to your customers. Some of you may have heard or understand the concept of color theory, right? So certain colors evoke certain emotions. And it's very important to understand what emotion you want your audience to feel when they interact with your brand. Okay. And remember, your brand is not just your company and what is shown on a website or what is shown on social media. You are your brand. So when you show up in front of your audience, what feeling are you pulling out of them? Like, what are you making them feel? Or do you make them feel safe? Do you make them feel secure? Do you make them feel excited, right? All of those things are a part of your marketing strategy. Okay. You have to be consistent once you figure out what your branding is, because this builds trust over time, right? This allows people to build that what's called the know, trust, and like factor, right? And it helps them want to choose your business again and again and again, which, makes those residual sales as well as word of mouth. When they start talking about you, you get those referrals, right? Which is really important. The next thing, and we've talked about it briefly already, is the target audience, right? Who is that ideal customer? You want to ask yourself some questions when you're building out your audience. What challenges or problems are they facing? Okay. How does what you're offering solve those problems, right? What exactly do you need to do to maybe change your offer slightly so that it does solve their problems, right? Because sometimes once you identify your target audience, you can reflect on your business, your approach, your system, product, service, what have you, and go, it doesn't fully address that problem, but if I tweak it a little bit, it definitely will. So that's something that you want to think about, right? You can use tools like surveys, website analytics, and things of that nature to give you some insights into your target audience. Also, check out some magazines. This is really something that I learned a long time ago. When you think about the industry or the niche that you're in, for example, I'm just going to throw out parenting, right? Because I do deal with a lot of single mothers and helping them with their time management so that they can spend time with their kids and do all the fun stuff, right? That we're always missing because we're always so busy. Look at parenting magazines, okay? See what things they're advertising, okay? Like, are they advertising, um, I don't know, planning products, right? Ways to do things digitally so that they don't have to have things, down on paper and people can collaborate, like families can work together. Are they advertising certain restaurants? Are they advertising certain brands, like baby brands to purchase, right? Because if you can see like the unifying theme, right, that underlies it, then you know exactly what your target audience is being exposed to, right? And when people are being exposed to that, they see it, they purchase it, they buy it, it's in their homes, right? Then you know what speaks to them, okay? And then you can look at a little side tip here. You can look at Facebook and their ads, and you can actually see what ads are performing very high and which ads get the most clicks. And you can target things further that way. But those are like, some higher level tips, but a little bonus for you there. Um, and then like, when you talk about competitive analysis, that's looking at your competitors, right? You got to see what's out there. Okay. Figure out what they're doing great. Figure out what they're weak at, right? Where what are the gaps? Because it's in those gaps that you find where you need to be. Okay? Because there are certain products and services out there where people are like, "Oh, this is great, but I wish it did blank." Right? Be the blank. Be that part, that solution that people are wishing for, right? Because there are plenty of technology tools that I have and I use that I'm like, man, I wish it did this, right? And so I'm working to build that, right? Because I want to be I want to be that blank space, right? I want to fill that gap. Because if I'm wondering, man, I wish it did blank, somebody else has to be, right? And with how big this world is, man, if you could just get your one little slice of pie, whew, that's going to change the game for you. Okay. So when you're thinking about that competitive edge, right, that blank space that you're trying to fill, also think about your pricing, right? Your service, what sets you apart, what makes you unique. I was on a call earlier with somebody and they were telling me, well, yeah, I'm a coach. I'm like, cool. I'm like, what do you do? Right? And they were explaining to me that they help people develop their business. And I'm like, all right, what sets you apart from the rest of the coaches? And it took him a second, right, to think about it. And so we were talking through some stuff, we were brainstorming, and I said, well, as a coach, why don't you offer a digital photo shoot to your clients? as an upsell or a freebie, right? As a free service. Like, all right, you come on board and I'm going to give you a whole digital photo shoot. So you just gave them a brand shoot, right? For quote unquote free, but of course you incorporated into the cost of your coaching. Um, and then, I also suggested giving them a basic landing page, right? So that's your lead magnet. So give them a lead magnet, right? I mean, you can hire that out to if you're not great at it, right? You can hire that out to someone on Fiverr or a virtual assistant, something like that. They can create a lead magnet for you in an hour or so, cost you maybe 20 bucks, right? But it's an added value that you're giving a client that sets you apart. So that when anybody comes now and is referred to her, right? They go, oh, hey, this coach is amazing. This business coach is amazing because when I signed up with her, she gave me a free virtual photo shoot, and my photos actually looked realistic and it was me, right? And I had me looking professional and I didn't have to show up at all. And then I also got my lead magnet done. So I'm ready to rock, right? So now they're ready out the gate to start gaining leads, right? It's just, you have to think about what you can do to set yourself apart because if you just call yourself, like I sell XYZ or I coach this or I, support this or I help with this, right? What sets you apart from everybody else that does the same thing? Because when we're all in the same marketplace, people are going to be looking for that. They want to see what can they get from you that's different than the rest of the crowd. Okay. So once you think about all these foundational things, right? All these foundational strategies, you got to next move on to where are you going to market? Okay. Are you going to do it online, like social media, email campaigning, your website? Or are you going to stick with offline or maybe a combination of both, right? So offline is like networking events, flyers, maybe partnerships with local businesses. Usually you should try both, all right? Or a mix of both, okay? Because you're tapping into two different markets. Okay. The online market is a huge world because obviously you can access so many people near and far, right? Then the local market, local businesses, in-person market is a whole nother ball game too, because these are people that you probably run into all the time, right? Depending on how big your town is. But if you can make a name for yourself in both spaces, whew, you are getting a much bigger piece of the pie. And that, my friends, is a very, very, very good thing. Okay. Something else that you can do when you're starting to market, think about your story. Okay. People love a good story. I mean, think back to when you were a kid. Who didn't like a good story? I always love stories. I love writing them too, which is why I'm a published author. And it resonates with people, right? When you can connect with somebody's story, when you're like, man, I feel that person, or I understand what you mean, right? Think about how you're going to craft your story. Are you a relatable person, right? Did you have a clear problem? And how did your product or service solve it? So a lot of times when people begin coaching or they begin selling certain things, it's because it was a problem that they solved for themselves, right? So for example, I'm gonna give myself as an example. I started helping people with their time management because it was something that I had to learn at a very young age. And I built those skills over a long time. And people have always asked me, how on earth do you get so much done with so little time? And I said, because I have exceptional time management. It was something that was drilled into me at a very young age. It is something that I am accustomed to. And I've always learned how to use those skills in order to leverage my time so that I can get more done with less of it. And so since I learned how to do that very, very well, I wanted to bless other people or help other people learn, right? Because I constantly heard others going, I have no time for this. I would really love to start a business or I would really love to do this, but I have no time, right? And I call BS on that. Everybody has time. Okay. You have to learn how to leverage your time and you have to learn how to use it well. So for those of you out there that are saying, I don't have time, you do. You just got to learn how to use it the right way. Okay. So let's look at some examples of marketing in action, okay? So I want you to think about on a small scale, right? Your favorite bakery, right? Or maybe the local farmer's market, okay? They offer free samples a lot because this builds awareness, right? It lets other people see, ooh, this is delicious. Oh, I love that. That's so yummy. Or this looks so great, right? And it lets people know who they are, right? And by building that awareness, you drive sales, right? Now think about Nike, right? Or your favorite clothing or shoes brand, okay? They have the iconic Just Do It campaign, which connects emotionally with athletes on all kinds of levels, okay? Then there's their digital marketing, like an influencer promoting their products, right? There's so many influencers out there that will promote, right? When you have a brand and you have like a brand ambassador, right? They promote your stuff. Okay. So when people are doing these types of marketing, right? The common thread here is that they're identifying their audience, they're delivering their value in a creative and effective way. So some other things you can think about are like a small coffee shop, right? When they use those loyalty cards. Who here has a bunch of loyalty cards in their wallet? I do, right? A couple of places that I like to go. There's a place called Newberry. It's frozen yogurt here in Tallahassee, and they have a punch card, right? After so many punches, you get a like a percentage off, or you get like a free one, right? So that's a way to build loyalty. People want to go back to get their free little cup of ice cream, right? Or when you go to a store and they say, okay, after your, I don't know, fifth purchase, you get 10% off the next one, right? That really helps because it builds those repeat customers. And of course, word of mouth, people say, hey, did you get your little card, right? When you went to go visit, this place. And if they didn't, they'll definitely go back and ask for it, okay? Um, Small businesses or small brands, have really gained a lot of visibility by jumping on those TikTok trends. That's just me being real, right? Video sells everything nowadays. So if you can incorporate video into your marketing, it's a great tool, okay? Because they focus on branding, they focus on the audience, and they really stand out because everybody loves seeing other people act a fool. I know it sounds funny, but it's true, right? People like to get entertained. And whether that's with a TikTok trend or not, it's however you decide. It's however you decide. But stay true to yourself. Like that's really important. Like I encourage you to stay true to who you are. Do not try to be someone that you're not. Like I'm not comfortable doing TikTok challenges. I'm just not. So I've never jumped on that bandwagon. But I do know video is key and I need to get better at that, right? So it's something that I'm going to be working on in 2025. So start small, build up, okay? I want you to remember, right? Ultimately, marketing is about creating and communicating value, okay? It's how businesses connect with customers and grow. So when you focus on things like the 4 Ps that I talked to you about, right? Really understand your audience. You'll have this nice, strong foundation to build on. Okay. Um, and when that happens, your efforts that you put in, like the marketing efforts that you put in, no matter if it's money, if it's organic, if it's word of mouth, if it's in person with your flyers and things like that, right? When you put all this work into place and you have these foundational skills like unlock, then those efforts become much more memorable and much more relatable. All right. So we're going to talk about leveraging what you got, right? Your existing resources. So let's say you're starting off fresh and you're like, all right, where do I begin, Maribel? Where do I begin? Because I don't got a whole lot of money to spend on this stuff, but I really do want to get the ball rolling. Okay. We're going to talk about your knowledge, your skills, and your resources and how to use these things to market effectively. Okay. Sometimes your best strategy is right in front of you. Okay. You don't need a big budget, a lot of fancy tools to make a huge impact. So start by asking yourself, what skills do I already have that I can use for marketing? Okay. Are you a great writer that can create engaging blog posts? Maybe you're a natural at building relationships and you can leverage your network for word of mouth referrals. Okay. Don't overlook tools that you already have. like the social media platforms that you're on every day, or simple design software like Canva. Okay. The next thing, think about your relationships, right? These are the people that are in your network, your friends, your family, your colleagues, right? They can be your biggest supporter and advocate. Encourage them to share your business with others. It costs $0 to share, zero, right? And let them know that, hey, the biggest way that you can support me, like, I know you don't want to buy my products. I know you don't need my services, but hey, can you share this? Share this with the world because you are literally one client away or one person away from a breakthrough, right? From turning your business from nothing into something amazing. Okay. So share, 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 and ask people to help you share, right? Think about partnerships with businesses or community engagement opportunities, like a local event. Like think about a team, right? The first time that I sponsored my son's soccer team, I think I gained like 4 clients. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So think about stuff like that, right? Some of those buy-ins are fairly cheap. And you can stretch your reach very, very wide. And become, visible to your neighborhood, which is really nice too, because people know that you're there and they'll come back to you, right? People in your neighborhood, they're going to be your repeat clients. So when you build that relationship, that's going to take you pretty far because then they're going to tell their friends who will tell their friends who will tell their friends and so on and so forth, right? I mentioned earlier about collaborating with influencers. Listen, that is one of the hardest things to do, but it can be done. It can be done. Most often that one costs some money. So save that for like, in your back pocket. And I can give you some little tips and tricks on how to do that too. But that's down the road. Okay. Think about the content that you've already put out in social media world, right? You can repurpose all of that. All you have to do is switch up some words. I can promise you, promise you, promise you, something that you posted 2 months ago, people do not remember it today. Okay. Because with social media, what's interesting, people think that everybody sees everything on social media. It's not the case. Okay. It depends on a whole lot of factors, like whether or not they have you saved as like a favorite, what time they get on versus what time you actually post, right? The number of posts that happen in between when you post versus when they actually log in. There's a whole lot to it, okay? So maybe 3% of your audience will see your social media posts. So please repurpose your content. Like that is probably the easiest thing that you can do. Okay. Um, I mean, you could even repurpose an old presentation, right? And turn it into a free resource for your audience. You could turn it into like a $27 lead magnet. I mean, why not, right? That saves you time. It helps you make a little bit of money. And it also speaks to like your authority. You have to be an authority in your industry. You have to be able to talk for an hour on a certain topic, right? Without blinking twice. So think about how you can repurpose your content. That's probably one of the easiest and cheapest ways to do it, right? Um, Write blogs, right? Host Q&As, even contests, right? Post questions in communities like Reddit or Quora. So those are other ways that you can build your credibility, right? And trust with your audience. So let's think about like a freelancer, right? They're great at writing, and they turned that into a successful social media strategy job. Okay. So basically they got on Fiverr or some other, Upwork, and they're like, hey, I'm really good at writing. Someone saw that, boom, right? They hired them as a social media content strategist. Um, a local business that boosts their sales by sharing customer testimonials as proof of their value. That's something else. Keep your testimonials. So when people work with you or they buy from you, right, and they shoot you a quick little thank you message via text, screenshot it, save it. Okay, that's a testimonial. If they email you a thank you note, screenshot it, save it. That's a testimonial. Okay. Word of advice, try to never copy and paste something into something else because it comes across as not reliable or false. Okay. So the more you can screenshot something, it makes it legit. Okay. So that's just a little tidbit for you. Um, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just know that. Okay. To market effectively. You have skills, you have knowledge, you have relationships, right? Repurpose what you have, save you some time, right? Use those strategies, those small, simple strategies, to give you the most bang for your buck, right? Leverage what you know and be creative. That's something that I love doing, like just brainstorming with people. I was actually on a call earlier today, in the middle of the day, and I was with a group that I work with, and we were brainstorming ways that we could build custom GPTs, right, that help solve problems. And that was actually really, really cool because, we were talking about the different places we were in our business and what we wanted to do in 2025. And we helped each other kind of think past that block that we had, and how we could take what we're working on and move it to the next level, right? So that's just a way to leverage what you have, right? Those relationships to help you move forward in your business. Okay. So last but not least, we're going to talk about practical low cost ways to get your marketing efforts like off the ground. Okay. So whether you're just starting out with a tight budget, these strategies are really going to help you, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. Okay. So we already talked about social media platforms. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, those are great for reaching different audiences, right? Things like Canva and CapCut. Okay, it can help you create professional looking graphics and videos. Google My Business is a must. And I will say that again. Google My Business is a must if you have a local presence, right? Because it boosts your visibility on search engines. People need to know you exist. Okay, so if you do not have a Google My Business profile, set it up today. Okay, set it up today. And don't forget analytics, because you got to track your analytics so that you can see what's working and what's not. Okay. You need to know which platform your audience spends their time on. Okay. So just to be real, right? Younger audiences love Snapchat, Instagram. Younger audiences. Middle-aged markets tend to stick to Facebook and LinkedIn, right? And the older generation likes Facebook. Okay. So think about who your target audience is. What industry are you working in? Where can you find them? A simple search will help you figure that out. You can use ChatGPT to figure that out. Okay. Make sure you're on the right platform. All right. And then think about how you're going to vary your content. Don't just stick with straight, stagnant posts all the time, right? Mix it up. Think about like behind the scenes, helpful tips. You can do polls, things to engage your audience. You can do videos, reels, carousels, all kinds of things, right? Have fun with it, okay? Show your personality through your posting, right? Don't be this cookie cutter kind of person that's like, okay, I'm going to copy exactly what this other person did. No, because that other person isn't you. Okay. Be you. If you're not yourself, then it's not going to work because you can't keep up a facade forever. Okay. You got to be yourself. All right. Now, email marketing is another way that you can connect with your audience. You need to build a subscriber list. That's why I said you have to have a lead magnet. Okay. You got to build that subscriber list. You got to offer something valuable like a free guide, a checklist of some kind, a video challenge, anything that you can think of, right? That can encourage signups. You can use free tools like MailChimp to create emails. Okay. You need a welcome email that's going to set the tone. Okay. That's going to welcome your audience and explain who you are, explain the value that you bring to the table, and encourage them to connect with you on other levels, right? Maybe you want to create a newsletter that includes some special offers to keep your audience engaged. Maybe you want to issue a challenge at some point, right? Maybe you want to have a special guest and you want to record them and you want to put that out somewhere. Okay. That is the purpose of your email list. All right. You have to utilize that list consistently and effectively. If you don't, you're leaving things on the table, right? So I'm going to talk about something really quickly. Facebook went down today. Meta went down today for a while, right? And it was working really slow. And we're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, right? Imagine if you had an event planned to go live on Facebook. What would you have done if you did not have an email list? Nothing. You would be stuck, right? So no one understands something. The social media platforms are great. We don't own those audiences, okay? If social media goes down today and it no longer exists, the only thing you can fall back on is your email list. So your email list is gold. That is what you have to cultivate. Okay. So when you have things like, groups on Facebook, always have them fill out a questionnaire, whether it's like just name and email, right? And then capture that information and save it. Okay. Let them know ahead of time, hey, I'll use your email to send you some free stuff, right? And it's true, you're going to give them value, right? But that's a way to capture your audience. LinkedIn has a tool that if they have provided their email and given the okay, you can actually export and download that. So if you want to know how to do that, hit me up. I'll make sure to give you the information on how to make that happen. But please remember that social media, you don't own it. It's not your platform. Your email list is. So cultivate that email list. Okay. Um, Something else that you can do is get involved in your local community. So your Chamber of Commerce, okay? Head over there, head over to your local, your community college, right? They have a lot of like business tools and resources for you. Chamber of Commerce can connect you with a lot of local businesses that might need your business, right? And provide some support, even financing at some point. So yeah, so get involved with your community and see what kind of things are out there to help you. Maybe they have a space that you can provide a free workshop or a class, right? An in-person class, right? Maybe you're a chef and you want people to test your food, right? How cool would it be to go down to the community center or the Chamber of Commerce or whatever place they have available and you can host a taste testing, right? People can taste your yumminess and then boom, you've got a bunch of clients that want to hire you for catering gigs, right? That would be really neat. That would be really neat. Um, you know, Things don't have to be expensive when you're starting out, right? Don't think that you have to go out right away and get a loan just to get your business off the ground. Start with what you know, right? And build up. Build up. Um, Provide value, constant value, right? Whether it's like tutorials, frequently asked questions, just some tips and tricks on how people can do things, right? Don't be afraid to experiment also, right? There are some times where something that you put out, it just doesn't quite resonate with your audience. So you gotta like, oh, pull that back and test something else, right? So what we call A/B testing. So when you do that, right, you have to keep the analytics. You got to know, okay, did this work? Did I gain clients from this one or from the A track? If the answer is yes, you keep on going with that track. If the answer is not quite, then we switch and we go the other way, right? And we figure out, okay, what can I adjust or change that might bring a little bit more value, that might draw a little more clientele my way. Okay. Don't be afraid of that though. Don't be afraid of that though, because building a business is a bunch of A/B testing. Okay. And my friends on this webinar right now can tell you that. Okay. Just remember, you don't have to dish out a whole lot of money to start, right? Provide that value up front and the customers will come. They will come. All right. So the next thing, okay, we have to do, of course, in anything, um, as we're building this value and as we're gaining our clientele, as we are building that foundational marketing strategy, right, we have to measure and adjust it. Okay. You got to have goals. You got to have clear goals. I've talked about this a lot. Without a goal, what are you working towards? Okay. What do you want those marketing efforts to achieve? Okay. Maybe you want just to build awareness. Because yes, when you're first starting, you need to make people aware of who you are. Okay. And as you're growing, okay, maybe the next thing you want to do is drive sales, okay? Maybe it's to grow your audience, and you can use SMART goals to make this happen, right? SMART, specific, measurable, actionable, or achievable, relevant, and time bound, okay? Use that framework to keep your efforts focused. So instead of something like, I want more followers, you would say, I want to gain 100 new Instagram followers in the next 30 days. Okay. So that's a whole nother type of goal, right? More followers. Okay. Yeah. Well, how are you going to do it? Okay. Where are you going to do it? And how long are you going to give yourself to do it in? Right. That's why gain 100 new Instagram followers in the next 30 days is better, but I would add by dot, 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 right? So that I knew exactly how I was going to do that. Okay. Just like goal setting, marketing is an ongoing process. You got to track what's working. You got to monitor those engagement rates, the website traffic if you have one, right? Your email open rates. Check that data out. Use it to double down on what's working or refine what's not. Okay. Analytics tools like Google Analytics, right? They have built in, you have built in social media insights within Facebook, Instagram, and all of them. LinkedIn has it. They all have it. Check out the analytics, see what's working. Use it to measure your success and to track what's not. Okay. That way you don't constantly repeat those. You don't want to put out the same content that did not perform well. You want to take what did not perform well, take out that piece and replace it with something that did. You get what I'm saying? That way, you can begin to build your audience at a quicker rate. Okay. So as we, wrap up, I just want to leave you with some reminders. First, marketing is a journey. Okay. You don't have to do everything at once. Please start small and build as you learn. All right. Second, I want you to focus on your audience and provide that value. And then third, I want you to be open to testing, learning, and adjusting along the way because it's all about figuring out what works for you. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today and giving me your attention. If you have more questions or think of something later, please feel free to contact us at Sestra. And we will be more than happy to, support you. You can reach me anytime you need to. Okay. Don't forget to
Thank you.
connect with us. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Maribel. I put in the chat for those that are on now. I put the contact information in the chat. But please, you can email us at admin@SestraNowConsulting.com. Visit SestraNowConsulting.com. SestraNow is all over social media, but please reach out to us if you are interested in retaining Maribel services. We'll be sure to get you that free consultation so we can talk about how to empower you and to get your business out there. There was a lot of information that was shared tonight, but you don't have to do it alone. We're here to help. And we want to thank everyone for joining us. This recording will be available on our YouTube channel by tomorrow evening. You'll be able to get it there to take another look at everything. And in the post, I will also include our contact information. So we want to just thank everyone for joining us. And again, SestraNow Consulting is here to assist you with all your business needs, not just marketing, but we have everything: websites, app development, the lead generation, whatever it is that you may need to give your business that boost. We are here to give that to you. All right. Thank you again. And good night, everyone. Thanks again for joining us.
Good night, guys.
Good night.